Welcome everybody, I am Tom Phillips and welcome to this week's WWE SmackDown Live.
I hate this channel.
WTF! WTF!
You know, when you're on your summer holidays, it's the height of summer, everybody's gone out the country, they're sunning themselves in a foreign land. You think to yourself, oh, I'm bored here in my native land, I'll flick on the local news to see what's happening in the world. But because everyone else has gone on holiday and are sunning themselves in a foreign land, nothing's happening. So you have to watch reports of a man who collects stamps, or a sheep who can stand on its hind legs and shadow box with itself. That's what it's like watching SmackDown Live these days. Now, granted, we're in the very depths of that very deep trough in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, but Jesus Christ, WWE, give us something to sink our teeth into, man, for Christ's sake. Now, watching this week's Raw, I was bored Tony Poulos, and watching this week's SmackDown Live, which used to be so much better than WWE Raw, I was very much the same. SmackDown is firmly Raw light. And as for that wild card thing, remember the days where they claimed that 4 superstars from Raw could go to SmackDown and vice versa? That just died without anybody saying anything. Made a grave mistake, Corey. And here's a direct quote from Corey Graves from the start of last night's SmackDown Live. 2 nights in a row with Miz TV. Is there not enough spotlight on one night for this guy? Enough is enough. But Corey, this is the wild card, a nonsensical thing I've been forced to bring in by the television networks to keep the big stars visible and everybody else dead. I'm being shafted by the networks, Corey, just like me. Vince McMahon has shafted wrestlers and the fans for many years. What do you want me to do? I'm being bent over by the networks. I'm a receiver when I should be a giver. Yeah, Corey, man, it's the wild card rule. It's great. It's hip-hop and happening, man, yeah. So next up, we have The Miz claiming he's being forced to follow a script while presenting Miz TV, because when he normally presents Miz TV, it's off the wall, isn't it? Everyone's going radio rental. People eat their own heads, don't they? It's like Springer in its heyday. The shackled prisoner, The Miz, then reads out from a cue card, but reads out exactly what he would have said on a normal episode of Miz TV if the cue cards weren't there. Now, I realised that Miz was being forced to do an episode of Miz TV with Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional wrestler in the world today, but surely The Miz, as the host of Miz TV, wants the biggest and the best guests to appear on Miz TV so people care and watch Miz TV. And quite frankly, Miz, you do not get bigger or better than Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional wrestler in the world today. So what are you moaning about, man? But yeah, Miz was being forced to do things he just didn't want to do, so that's unsafe working conditions. That's how dare you, WWE, force the Miz to do things against his will like that. Free him, you dicks. Ah, bollocks. I've probably just added 6 months to Luke Harper's contract with that outburst. I'm sorry, Luke. 3-man band, the reunion tour. This is what they look like when they'd all finally grown up and their cocaine binges took hold. Look at the state of Heath Slater. And next up, we have the moment where The Miz actually claims that Roman Reigns systematically destroyed, that's right everybody, systematically destroyed Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional wrestler in the history of WWE ever, at Super Showdown last Friday. And of course, if you saw that match, you know that's not true. If that match between Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional wrestler in the history of WWE ever, and the big dog was taking place on an early edition of Pro Evolution Soccer, Peter Brackley would have called it a ding-dong battle to end it all. It was 50-50. It was as even as they come. A fact displayed perfectly by Shane McMahon, only taking a bump from one of Roman Reigns' massive right hooks right at the end of the match. That's the finish of the thing. Let's just face it, everybody. We knew they were out of kayfabe before that Super Showdown match, but now after that Super Showdown match, in kayfabe, Shane McMahon's wrestling abilities between the ropes in the fabled square circles of WWE are equal or better than Roman Reigns, who of course is the face of WWE. Now, did anybody else hear The Miz turn into that policeman right there when he tried to call Drew McIntyre the Scottish sycophant? Basically, here's what The Miz said to Drew McIntyre in that moment. Good morning, Drew. You are a Scottish Sycophant, a oui oui, a bonjour, hello to my friends in France. Now when Drew McIntyre said that he's not like anybody else, did anybody else imagine this? I'm not like most boys, I'm a massive Scottish daddy, not a silly little dafty. Lucky for me, I'm not like most boys who don't know what I am brute is, freedom and haggis. I'm not like most boys. Just me then? Oh, all right then. And next up we have The Miz, who called Shane McMahon, who of course, if you haven't realised by now, is the single best professional wrestler in the last 28 years or so at least of WWE history, a talentless hack who won the lottery by being born a McMahon. Now, as I said before, Colonel McSweaty Bollocks, in the sheer heat of Saudi Arabia, that should have turned him in to a massive, wet, sweaty water balloon that popped and then flooded the entirety of Saudi Arabia, and the rest of the world not only took the mighty Roman Reigns to a competitive matchup at Super Showdown, he actually beat Roman Reigns. That's not to mention, since his return in 2016, the days when he would hang with The Undertaker, when that old man was still pretty decent. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Miz, man, surely you realise you would not have been a SmackDown Live Tag Team Champion this year in 2019 if at the Royal Rumble, Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional wrestler in the world today, didn't single-handedly beat the Bar while you were struggling to keep up, man. Now you might be thinking I'm taking the piss here, but just go back and watch that Royal Rumble match. Shane McMahon beat the mighty Bar all by himself while The Miz struggled on the outside. I'm not taking the piss, honestly. The stories that WWE have told time and time again over the past 3 years have had one message running through them all, and that is Shane McMahon, at 49 years of age, a sweaty, delusional Joe Rogan wannabe, is the man who beat the man who beat the man who ended the Undertaker streak, and therefore Shane McMahon is really good at professional wrestling. There's no denying it. I hate WWE, me. And I'm not being funny here, boys and girls, but I think we found Drew McIntyre's kink. After doing that there last Friday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, with 100-degree hot ball juice from the sweatiest man in the world ever trickling down your spine, why the hell would you put yourself through it again on last night's SmackDown Live? I told you on Saturday, Ross, I love it, man. I'm like a massive ham getting glazed with some honey. Lovely. You're weird, you, Drew. So last night we learned that Ember Moon, who isn't Scottish, is a petulant 9-year-old child. So there we have Ember being a massive, dirty, stinking nerd playing on her Nintendo Switch, and then in swoops Mandy and Sonya Deville with all kinds of sass. And then some back and forth happened between the three ladies before Sonya knocked that Switch out of Ember's hands to the floor and probably broke it. But instead of just kicking her ass and taking her name because she's a professional wrestler who works for WWE, and WWE are a company who is putting on Stomping Grounds, the place where you take names and kick ass, everybody. Oh, it's so cool. Ember Moon, she does things to a bin and then picks up the bin and throws it and screams like a petulant 9-year-old child. It wasn't a good look, Ember. Do you want to pick and mix to stop crying? The following is a direct quote from last night's SmackDown Live, probably written down on a piece of paper by an employee backstage who works for WWE, then given to a WWE commentator who said the following words out of his own mouth. Daniel Bryan and the Massive Rowan have claimed that if they can save the tag team division, they can save the planet. That's right, boys and girls, pollution, global warming, the ice caps melting, the polar bears dying, solving all that is easier than saving the tag team division in WWE. Nobody, absolutely nobody who works for WWE in any capacity has any faith or belief or love for the tag team ranks in their own company. And if that's the case, why don't they just scrap them and start again with one division with the best teams in it? Cardboard championships, eh? What kind of sad soy boy cooks would risk life and limb and put their reputations on the line for a bit of cardboard, eh? Pathetic. Nevertheless, the YOLO County Tag Team titles is a very fitting name for a championship in WWE today, because as John Moxley told us, everybody tells Vince McMahon, no Vince, that's a bad idea, don't do it, but you just know that Vince McMahon replies to those people, YOLO!
Well, do it anyway, damn it.
But anyway, at least those things there look better than the 24/7 championship, and what's more, I've been able to obtain an exclusive interview with Dolph Ziggler, who gave me his thoughts after seeing Heavy Machinery get a shot at the YOLO County Tag Team titles. It should have been me, I'm gonna die alone.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
And here is a direct quote from Byron Saxton from last night's SmackDown Live. How many times have we seen Carmella go one-on-one with Mandy Rose, only for Sonya Deville to get involved? Sonya might as well be in that ring. Well, considering the fact that Carmella and Mandy have only had 2 singles matches in the entirety of 2019, Byron Saxton, I reckon it's a lot less than you actually think it is. And please, for the love of God, get rid of those burns if you haven't already, Byron. But hey, at least the women's match on SmackDown Live, first of all, went longer than 2 minutes, and second of all, what a Brucey bonus we have here on a professional wrestling show where apparently this company tells stories. This women's match fed into a larger story. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but when it comes to the lasses on SmackDown Lives in recent months, I thought I've been watching Monday Night Raw from 2003. 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, DQ finishes, not a lot of good done. Lovable hugger error. For the second night in a row, Alexa Bliss called Bayley most definitely a hugger, not a hooker. Although I stand by my sentiments where I said that if Bayley wants to start a career in rugby union, she could very well be the next best hooker in that there scrums in the world ever. They went there again, so of course I'm going there again on last night's SmackDown Live. WWE as a company claimed, as we saw in Jeddah last Friday, WWE is the only form of sports entertainment that's totally cross-cultural in every country in the world, unless you're a woman. Today is the actual return of Big E. Oh, so that little fake he did a couple of weeks ago was just to stop Big E tweeting more fire than Becky Lynch could ever dream of. So I guess that little fakey return a couple of weeks ago, where Big E was wiped out once again by Kevin Owens, we've just got to pretend that return didn't happen? Nope. That's right, because Big E said if he was given a WWE title for every single return he has, he would be Charlotte Flair. Ha, it was funny.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
And next up we have Byron Saxton speaking about alleged allegations. Alleged allegations. Byron Saxton, of course he was speaking about alleged allegations. Alleged allegations being the same thing, aren't they? Because of course Byron Saxton would do that, because Byron Saxton appears to be a bleeding idiot. The door is wide open. Will somebody please pick a fight with me? Check your Twitter, Ali. Randall wants to shake your hand. But you see, this is an issue with social media and professional wrestling, and WWE especially. In some rivalries, social media is canon, like the Alexa Bliss versus Bayley feud. Last night's SmackDown Live was based on Bayley liking a tweet, but Aleister Black there, his social media doesn't exist apparently. Just pick one or the other, please, WWE. And next up we have Apollo Crews, who claims that I'm not here to be an afterthought. Well, the last 3 years state otherwise, pal. Made a grave mistake, Corey. And next up we have Corey Graves quite literally saying that he believes that Dolph Ziggler is the favourite for the cage match at Stomping Grounds for the WWE Championship. And in that moment, Corey Graves quite frankly flushed any reputation or clout he has as a professional broadcaster right down the toilet, because Corey, this isn't 2013 or 2014 anymore. Dolph's been dead since Survivor Series of 2014, man.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
And we end with another one from Byron Saxton, who was trying to make a case for Kofi Kingston's win over Dolph Ziggler at Super Showdown last Friday, which of course came down to an interference from your boy, Xavier Woods. In the midst of defending Xavier Woods for getting involved in a professional wrestling match, interfering in a match, Byron Saxton said the following. Now, I would never say that any sort of interference is okay, but that one was. Was that not an interference from Xavier Woods, Byron Saxton? I know that Dolph Ziggler kicked Xavier Woods right in the chops just before that, meaning Xavier Woods kicking Ziggler back in the face was turnabout is fair play, as the Americans and the rest of the world like to say. But if a heel's manager kicked Kofi and then the heel came back, you know what I mean? If it was the other way around, Byron would be kicking off, wouldn't he? So that's bollocks there. There are alleged allegations that Byron Saxton's been a numpty on SmackDown Live. I'm rambling. Ta-da! Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us